pajamas. My mom came in with pajamas on. I was thinking of her out of your
It could trigger a mild solar storm on Earth on October 29th, which was this past Saturday. The three dark patches that form the eyes and mouth are called coronal holes. Space speeds of up to 1.8 million miles per hour. They appear dark because they're cooler and less dense than the rest of the sun's surface. So Earth will be on the receiving end of those strong solar winds this time. Our atmosphere will block the fierce bursts of radiation. Hence, they could cause no harm to humans or animals on the ground. But the energy from the solar winds could disrupt our satellite systems and our power grids. Fortunately, the impact is expected to be minimal. Also, any minor inconvenience will be well worth it. When the sun's electrically charged particles collide with the Earth's atmosphere, they will spark beautiful light shows called auroras. The phenomenon is usually observed closer to the North and South poles. That's because the Earth's magnetic field attracts the particles towards them. So, how many of you have heard of Aurora Borealis or the Northern Lights? Okay, so this is what causes those northern lights that they see in the sky closer to the North Pole, is whenever there's a huge solar flare that takes place from the sun, and then the solar winds carry them at 1.8 billion miles per hour out into space, and then when they get to Earth, I'll show you the little video clip. It'll show you how it gets here.
How long do the northern lights last?
The northern lights, and let me push pause.
Production. The Northern Lights. If you live up in high latitudes, then this needs no introduction. The Northern Lights, also known as the Aurora Borealis. These stunning swirls of light dazzle the night skies of the upper northern hemisphere. In the lower southern hemisphere, they're called the Aurora Australis, or the Southern Lights. Auroras occur due to the interaction between Earth's atmosphere and the solar flare, hurling charged particles at us from the sun. The sun constantly shoots plasma out into space.
So you can see the dark circles where the solar flares are happening, and then that emits the solar winds, the solar flares still continuing in space until it hits the Earth, and we'll show that.
When it reaches Earth, the planet's magnetic field protects them.
The magnetic field is called our atmosphere. Okay, so it keeps all the radiation and the harmful rays away from us.
From these harmful particles. But these particles do get funneled in at the north and south poles. When the electrons from these particles come in contact with oxygen and nitrogen, they transfer energy, and it gets released as swirls of light called photons, giving you this stunning display. Auroras can occur on other planets too. One prominent world is Jupiter. Jupiter's intense magnetic field produces active auroras over 1,000 times brighter than our own. If you get a chance to see these lights out, sit back and enjoy one of the best natural spectacles of the night sky. For the latest in space, look up with AccuWeather Astronomy. You never
Okay, so very few countries celebrate Halloween as enthusiastically as the United States. Children and adults spend months and millions of dollars looking for the perfect costume. Many families decorate homes and front yards with spooky skeletons and jack-o'-lanterns. So how did all these fun customs begin? So trick-or-treating. Halloween's most cherished tradition, trick-or-treating, is credited to the Romans. Romans are in Italy. It's the city of Rome, okay? So to the Roman All Souls Day holiday. Next year you'll study the Roman Empire. On this day, poor people would visit the wealthy and offer a prayer for the wealthy's dead. The poor people would then receive a spiced treat called a soul cake in return. The tradition changed in Ireland and Scotland when kids in costumes began getting treats for singing or performing a skit. So immigrants from the two countries then brought that fun custom to the United States in the early 19th century, so in the 1800s. And the rest, as they say, is history. Okay, so immigration, once again, brought it to America. So why candy? Most people hand out candy during Halloween, but in the mid-20th century, and that would be the middle of the 1900s, kids also received fruits, nuts, coins, and even small toys. In the 1950s, candy companies introduced small, individually wrapped chocolates during Halloween. While that helped increase sales, candy really took off in the 1970s after parents became fearful of their children accepting unwrapped treats. So that's how we got the huge increase in the candy. And I do remember getting like bags of popcorn, like houses would pop popcorn, and then they would give you like a little plastic bag with a twisty tie on it, and that would be like what you would get for Halloween, or an apple, lots of oranges, apples. There were things called popcorn bowls. Did y'all know those were?
Those are nasty.
Those are good.
No, they're nasty.
It's almost like caramelized.
No, they're not too nasty.
That's my
You
favorite.
and popcorn balls
So,
are
like I
nasty.
said, I was trick-or-treating in the 70s and 80s, and so that's kind of when it went more to candy. So today, over 600 million pounds of candy are sold in the U.S. During the Halloween season. That's an average, listen to this, that's an average of 24 pounds per American. That's disgusting. 24 pounds per American in Halloween candy is sold every year. That's so disturbing. Why? That's a lot. So in 2022, U.S. consumers will spend about $3.1 billion on the treats. While each state has its favorite, nationwide winner is Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, Skittles, and M&M's round out the top three. Okay. And so you see here and I've seen things with states, I guess they look at the number of sales. And so the Hershey Company is pretty strong in Pennsylvania. I'm not sure if they just put that there or if it's because, Hershey is based in Pennsylvania. And you can see some of the different states. Sour Patch Kids, I do remember that.
I love Sour Patch Kids.
But yeah, so peanut butter cups are the favorite, number one. This year we're passing out, Mr. Boychuk insists on doing a full-size candy bar. So this year we have 3 options. I got like these boxes, and it's either Kit Kats, Hershey's, or the Reese's peanut butter, but it's not the 2-piece. I guess it weighs the same. It's the pumpkin. Like, you know how you get the egg at Easter time? It's the big pumpkin. So that's what we're giving out.
I bet you're just gonna set up a kit right next to your door.
Stop what?
Like set up a kit right next to your door because there's gonna be something.
No, it's just, you get in the neighborhoods. So, jack-o'-lanterns. No Halloween is complete without a spooky or friendly friendly pumpkin jack-o'-lantern. The fun custom can be credited to the Irish. They initially used turnips or beets for their ghoulish creations, which are much smaller. However, after coming to America, those Irish immigrants switched to pumpkins because it was readily available, okay? And those fall fruits were much easier to carve as well. So pumpkins are native to our continent of North America, and that's why they started carving those instead of turnips or beets. So they came from the Irish. So black and orange decor. Black and orange are the colors of choice during Halloween. The custom can be traced back to 2,000-year-old Celtic festival Samhain, observed every November 1st in what is now modern day Ireland. It marked the end of the harvest season and the start of winter. Orange represented the autumn harvest season, while black illustrated the death of summer.
Is that what Halloween means?
No, they'll show you on here, but those are why you have the colors.
100 years ago, Halloween costumes used to look like this. Now they look like this. One of us isn't doing this right. Hello everyone, my name is Mr. Q, and today we are going to talk about the second largest commercial holiday in the United States, Halloween versus Christmas. We've also done a video on that. Where does it come from, and what does the word Halloween mean anyway? The answers, as always, can be found in history. Like many modern holidays, historians believe that it came from ancient pagan practices. So that looks like Samhain, right? But it's actually pronounced Samhain. It was Old English. What are you gonna do? Anyways, it meant summer's end, and it marked the end of the harvest. During this time of year, the Celts believed that the boundary between the living and the dead blurred, and ghosts would wander the earth. Because of this, people would light bonfires on October 31st. That date might sound familiar. And wear masks to confuse the ghosts and make them think that they were ghosts too. They were thinkers, the Celts. They would also leave food on their doorsteps to try and make the ghosts happy and stop them from causing havoc and destroying their crops. Kind of like giving them a treat so they wouldn't trick them. By 43 CE, the Roman Empire had conquered the Celts, and they brought their own festivals with them. One was called Feralia, which commemorated the dead. Over time, these traditions got combined. The Romans also had a day devoted to Pomona, goddess of fruit and trees. Her symbol is the apple, so the tradition